go.
It's working and ready to go.
Page 10 in your notes.
See that it's
We're going to talk
so
about insects.
If you
Okay.
see with this, you can
So eyes on me.
zoom in.
So now
It's really good.
focus on
But
the board.
we just make this
Okay,
wide.
so here you go. So insects are the most diverse group of arthropods. What in the Sam Hill does that mean? The most diverse group. What do you think that means, Brady? The most diverse group of arthropods. They vary in some of their characteristics. I mean, obviously, insects are going to have many characteristics, that are the same, but there's so many different kinds. Just a minute ago, we had that picture of a grasshopper up here. Right beside it, I don't know if you actually noticed some of the pictures on the outside. One of the insects looked like a walking leaf. Like even down to the veins that you see in a leaf. Our God is amazingly creative. So insects are the most diverse group of arthropods that exist in the animal kingdom. To be an insect, though, you have to have these particular characteristics. You have to have, go ahead and put this whole thing, a chitinous exoskeleton. That means the exoskeleton is made of a material called chitin. C-H-I-T-I-N. Insects have 3 body parts. Insects have 3 pair of jointed legs. They have compound eyes. How many of y'all did get to try on the compound eyeglasses?
What?
You missed it. So we, for your benefit, will pull them back out.
Pass them on to every insect.
Insects? No, we're just going to do Owen today because he missed. Slip those on and see what it would be like to have compound
I'm going
eyes.
bug.
Put your hands on this.
Crazy. Wait, look at me.
You definitely have bug eyes.
Owen, look at me. I'm looking at everyone.
Jilly, you didn't see them either, did you?
Whoa, no,
Let Jilly see right quick. So compound eyes, do you remember what that means? Like what it helps them to detect? Movement. So it helps them to detect movement and motion. Okay. Many insects also, they don't just have the compound eyes, they have one simple eye between them. So like the grasshopper, see right here? It has compound eyes on both sides, but then it has one simple eye in the middle, and it can focus a little more clearly. Okay, so then we have one pair of antennae. So all insects have these characteristics. Okay, body structure on your insects. The chitinous 3-part body of insects consists of what 3 parts?
Head, thorax, and antenna.
No, what was that last word?
Abdomen.
Abdomen. Okay, so head, thorax, and abdomen. Then let's talk about those different body parts. So on the head usually has what?
2 large compound eyes.
Fill it in. All those notes we're filling in, so let's roll with it. It usually has 2 large compound eyes. Eyes contain many lenses. And they focus the light to form images. Most insects also have small, simple eyes that can distinguish between light and darkness. You can rephrase those and you can do it. You don't have to write down every single word. Just get the idea. And for Sydney on this, I can, I'll send a copy of the
I will
notes.
look behind you.
Yeah, she's here.
Play
Sydney Hill is here.
Oh, yeah, it's me. Oh, and
Okay, so guys, it's right behind you, baby.
Where's my? Oh, hey,
He literally goes like,
he looks right at me.
Okay, so now we know Sydney's here. Moving on to the thorax. Where's the thorax located on an
middle
insect?
section.
The middle section of its body. So it is an insect's midsection to which the wings and the legs are attached. So the wings and the legs are attached. Most species of insects can fly. Notice it said most. Most can fly once they are adults. Why are they telling you that as far as the thorax goes?
Because the wing cases are on the
Because the wings are there. They're on the thorax. Okay? Insects are the only invertebrates that can fly. That's important.
Wait, what does it say?
Insects are the only invertebrates that can fly. Pretty cool. And they can travel long distances and avoid predators by flying.
Technically, can't spiders fly too? With the ballooning?
They balloon, but they don't fly because they don't have wings.
Mr. Krabs.
They have ways of moving through the air, but they don't fly. Okay, final body section is the what? Abdomen. Whoa, that was scary.
That sounds like a big old
The abdomen. Okay, inside the abdomen are many of the internal organs. There are small holes on the outside of the abdomen that lead to a system of tubes inside the insect. Go ahead and in parentheses write spiracles, because the little holes that are alongside the abdomen, those are the spiracles.
I see them.
We're gonna, when we dissect this Friday, we're gonna dissect a grasshopper, and you're gonna be able to see the spiracles.
I'm not gonna be here.
Can we get a library? Because I
In
need
Midland.
I'm staying.
Find
I
a
hate
grasshopper on the
grasshoppers.
Wait, you're
Cut it
staying
out.
what? Wait,
Okay.
is that one the library?
Zach, don't get sidetracked. Let's stick to this for a minute. What'd you say, babe?
Is that one the down there touring around on Friday? Or like the elementary kids touring around?
Oh, no, they're not.
No.
I don't think so.
And that's
If they do, I guess they'll see us dissect some grasshoppers. Okay, then let's talk about what these spiracles are for. So these tubes allow air in, which contains oxygen, to enter the body. Okay, so you can just say the spiracles take in oxygen. It's kind of like your nostrils. The spiracles are insect nostrils, and they're not located on their face. They're located where?
On their abdomen.
On their abdomen. And go ahead and add this. The oxygen in the air travels directly to the insect cells. Kind of like yours, only a little different.
What do you mean by different?
They're not going through the same system of lungs and blood like ours do. We have a whole nother system at work. But they still need oxygen. Okay, so let's look. Let's label the part. Looks like your insect. Can you scoot back just a minute? Looks like your grasshopper down there is pretty well labeled. So let's just look at each part. I mean, antenna, no surprise where they are, right? Where do you find those? On the head, okay. Something that's pretty interesting, notice the forewing, and underneath you have what is called the hind wing. Because insects have two wings on the outside that protect. They're a little bit harder than the soft and delicate hind wings. So the forewings cover the hind wings. So when they're sitting still, you generally can only see the forewings unless they're moving the forewings up. When they move the forewings up, you can see the hind wings. Yes.
I saw a thing, if the grasshoppers were realistic, or like our size,
Yeah.
that would be so scary.
It would be scary.
Be
Their
just like-
faces would be scary.
They're giant.
And when we dissect our grasshoppers, you know how we talked about maxillipeds on the lobster and the mandibles?
Ooh.
Those look scary. They really do look scary. So
What they
What do you call the grasshoppers?
they are not carnivores.
Oh, so we wouldn't need
They're
to fear 'em.
herbivores.
I would
ride
one.
They will
Probably
grind you
don't
up and
hunt
take you out.
Wait, my thing.
Okay, guys, look at the back. Ovipositor. What do you think this is? A female or male then?
Look at the what?
Female.
Female, because think of ovary. That's a female trait. And so an ovipositor is a place where the grasshopper can lay her eggs. Okay? Then inside, you don't have lungs, but you do have air sacs and you do have a trachea. So there you go. There is your insect. Okay, flip to the next page. Let me see what you're not in that page. Okay, flip back then.
There is no next page.
Okay, and I will be printing some more off of you. Okay, put these back in your IMB. Yes.
I studied the dinosaurs, and it says some of them eat animal tissue and animal feces.
And tissue, but they don't go hunting for it. That would be like as a scavenger. I wonder what kind of grasshopper is that.
You have AK?
But they're not carnivores, so they don't
They
go.
said we're not.
The grasshoppers.
Well, omnivores does mean they eat both, but they're not hunters. They're not like grasshoppers. Yes, right.
How do you plan?
Okay, so clear your desk of your INV and go and grab your poster. Yes, and you will need your insect paper. Oh boy! Insect paper and your Did you not do it?
What do you think?
One, two. This is not for a marble. This is to avoid a tally. 3. Count to 5. 4. And 5. That's okay. You can grab it. Okay, so you should have in front of you your paper, your research paper, and your poster. If you do not have yours, then now is the time to let me know. So let's see, I'm looking around. And so Zach's already listed with me about it. This is N3. So Zach. Who else does not have theirs?
I have mine. I just have a question.
Okay, we're not asking that right now. Okay, Curtis, do you have yours? Okay. Alright. Owen was absent, so Owen still has time to get his in next class. Jilly was also absent. Okay. Alright. Do you have yours? Yes. Okay, cool. Alright. Okay, so I'm looking around and we are going to allow one person at a time to get up and share your picture. What I want you to do, I don't want you to talk about all the information on your paper. That you're going to bring to me. Your poster is what you're presenting, the name of your insect and some interesting facts. If for some reason you've got your paper attached to your poster, then you can just bring the poster to me when you finish presenting, okay? All right, make sure your name is on both, paper and poster. Make sure your class number is on both. No, I want it on the front, actually, so I can see it. Yes, sir. Yes, you can. Okay, all right, so let me go with Drew. Can you save lives and get where Sydney can see you kind of at the front here? Thank you, sir.
Okay, so my bug was the stag.
Not bug. Not
Insect.
bug. Insect. There you go.
It's the stag beetle. There's the colored picture and there's a diagram. And some facts about the stag beetle is their main predators are magpies, blue jays, woodpeckers, owls, cats, foxes, bats, hedgehogs, badgers, wild boars,
Wow.
gray squirrels, frogs, and toads.
They must really taste good.
The magpies only eat the abdomen.
Oh, really?
It leaves the head to wander around.
Probably because that's where all the soft internal organs are. Okay.
And the stag beetle is Britain's largest terrestrial bug.
Okay. Y'all know what terrestrial means?
Like
Terrain. Like that word comes, it's land. So they live on land. Okay.
the larvae eat decaying wood underground, but the adults only eat sap and acid from fruits.
Okay. Cool.
The stag beetle's large mandibles, are for wrestling and not fighting.
They wrestle each other.
They wrestle rival males for territory.
Okay. Okay.
And the yeah, I already said that. They
magpie.
only eat the abdomen.
Okay. Cool. All right. Is your name on that?
No.
Because it's also not on this paper. So yeah, give me a minute. You can put your poster up there on the table, and I'll take the paper.
I don't think Cindy can see.
Yeah.
It's like tilted.
Hi, Sammy.
All these things are tilted.
Oh, why didn't you say something? She was in the wrong direction.
What's tilted?
I feel like the camera.
Just don't mess with it right
I
now.
feel like the camera moved.
Yeah, don't mess with it. Okay, Drew, who's gonna go next?
Brady.
Brady. All right.
Doesn't even have to look at it.
Hey, Brady, we gotta be ready.
I'm writing my
She
name.
passed it over to me.
Is that
He's writing his name.
Everybody, right now, get your name written because I don't want to have to wait for everybody to write their name.
Wait,
Okay. Here we go, girl. So, Brady, bang. Come on, the audience is like in suspense.
Come on, Earl!
Alright, here we go.
It's Jimmy.
So I just fire ant.
Good pictures.
Its diet is they primarily feed on vegetation or scraps from animals or humans.
Or
And
what?
They
Say that
eat
loud.
humans?
They feed on vegetation or scraps from animals or humans.
Okay.
And then their predators are it's kind of weird. Snails. It's like different. It's like kind of wasps.
Yeah.
There are other there were weird names of like
They're
snails.
predators.
They were weird looking snails and stuff.
We'll go ahead and give it a shot.
Okay, snails. Oh, I didn't write it down. The names of the snails.
No, okay. Keep going.
So the predators are snails, wasps, beetles, maggots, and caterpillars.
Maggots even.
Their special features are wings that it varies on some of them,
Okay.
and then their antenna. And their average lifespan for males is a few weeks. For workers, it's several months, and for the queen, it's decades depending on their condition.
Good grief.
Um,
She's a lucky ant.
and then their size is it centimeters?
Is it
Oh,
two
inch.
little? Yeah, that's an inch.
So 1/8 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch. And its life cycle goes from an egg to a larva to a pupa to an adult.
Perfect. You know what that is? What kind of metamorphosis that is? Is it complete or incomplete? Complete. Cool. That's
And then their color is dark reddish brown. There's an interesting fact where males die after mating, and in winter they go into a state called dormant. And then their habitat is they build mounds out of soil outdoors, and they enter through buildings through holes and cracks.
That's good. That's good. Brady, does the whole colony go dormant in the winter? Did it say? but I think they do. I don't think it's just the males. I think it's the whole colony. Don't fold it up. You can put it right there on the table. And good job. Good work. Okay, Brady, who's next?
Good job, Liz.
Yes.
You mean
Boy.
It's dirt.
Save lives. You might go around the other way so you don't knock Sydney over.
yeah, sure. You might want to watch her.
Okay. Preston, Badger, you need to get a handle on what you're doing.
Okay. The wasps. Their color is yellow, blue, brown, or bright red.
Okay.
They live 12 to 22 days. And they're about a half-inch long.
You don't have to give all those details. You can just give us the fun facts. I'm going to look at your research.
An ordinary wasp sting can be treated with deodorant containing aluminum.
Wow.
And then
So you could just like find yourself a hive and like invite them in? Ouch.
Sorry, buddy.
And then the venom in wasp contain a pheromone which causes other wasps to become more aggressive.
Yeah,
So if
what'd
you
you
swat one near its hive, it makes all the others become a lot.
More aggressive. Yeah, they come
Yeah,
after
then
you.
you die.
Good job. That's cool.
And there are 120,000 species of wasps. And then
Goodness.
there's something else. Oh, there's when they when they feed on other insects, they inject, or for cockroaches, they inject their venom into their brain, and they
Wow.
basically turn them into zombies. To where they just walk to, they follow the wasp to its den, to where they feed their young.
Oh, wow.
They eat the cockroach alive.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard, though. That's interesting. Okay, Judd, good job. All right, now,
You see a cockroach?
So, Judd, go opposite gender, because we've got all these girls just waiting. Awesome.
Opposite.
Okay. At least two. I like y'all's pictures, though. Y'all are doing a good job with those. Okay.
How did the viceroy butterfly? Do I just read the interesting facts?
Yeah, just the interesting facts.
Okay, viceroys used to be considered wrong word. I don't know.
Let me see.
Baptisian mimics.
Baptisia.
Oh, Baptisian mimics. Okay.
It's like a poisonous, foul-tasting monarch butterfly. It is. It's the Kentucky state butterfly, and it looks exactly like a monarch but smaller. So it has no predators because monarchs don't get eaten by stuff, I guess.
Well, that's interesting.
I don't know.
Okay.
When it turns into a caterpillar, it looks like bird droppings, so birds don't like to eat them.
Wow. So when it is a caterpillar, right?
Yes, when it
Because
turns.
it doesn't turn into a caterpillar.
Well, yes, but like
The eggs are hatched.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
There wasn't a lot of interesting facts.
Okay. All right. So that is a viceroy butterfly. Good job. Okay. So who's next, Maggie?
Dylan.
Okay.
It's
Let's
Jimmy.
roll it.
Yeah, it's Jimmy. Jim. Jet.
Okay, Dylan, let's roll back.
I did the bee.
Okay.
And yeah, small.
That's right. Interesting facts.
And there's so many bees, I just decided to focus on the bumblebee.
Yeah, that's good.
So much information on the over them
All
overall.
the different kinds.
But overall, they all have in common that they can see all the colors except for red.
So if you're near a beehive, wear a red morph suit.
No, that's probably just gonna make them mad.
They can
But
see
they can't
all
see
the colors
you.
except
No,
red.
they can see you.
They
They
can
don't
see-
can't see
Byron.
color. They might see
They don't see
different
the
color.
color.
They might
See
see
a different
black
color.
color. Pretty
Let me
much.
colorblind.
See a different color.
Okay, let's keep going here. All right.
And beekeepers use smoke to calm them down so they don't get stung. So they can collect the honey.
Okay.
And worker bees are only females.
Worker bees are only
Yes.
females.
We can
That's interesting.
That's exactly
It
what I'm
only makes
thinking.
sense, right?
That's exactly what I'm
Constantly
thinking.
doing the work.
Yeah, but we'll sit on couches.
Okay, he's not done. Here we go.
And one last fact, queen bees, they don't live that long. They only live about a year at most.
Okay.
Unlike the ants, which live like decades upon decades upon decades.
Right, that's nuts. Okay, all right. Since your paper's stapled to it, just leave it and go ahead and lay it there. Who's next? Dylan, good job.
is 100 years, right?
Yes.
Yes. Or 10 decades.
Dylan, who's next?
Curtis.
I don't have no.
Oh. Jason.
Okay, Jason.
Wait.
No. Go that way. Go that way.
All the concrete.
I think he was trying to give you.
Jason, what's your insect?
Brain beta.
Is that humorous?
That reminds me of Kung Fu Panda.
Is it humorous to you?
No.
I don't even know what he's
Jason. I don't even. Okay.
Mine was
Okay.
praying mantis.
Excuse me, Jason. I really like the fact that you chose a praying mantis. You boys are choosing. I know you're not making fun of anything. You've got some crazy joke going on here, so I'm not talking about that. But what I am talking about is the way that you are paying attention is absolutely disrespectful. So we've got one guy up here and only one guy needs to be talking. So let's be listening. All right, go for it, Jason.
Okay. These are the facts. The word mantis comes from the Greek word mantikos, I think, which means prophet.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mantises can turn their head 180 degrees.
Okay. You know what that means? Like,
That is
all like
Like an owl.
completely the other direction.
Mantis can see movement up to 60 feet away. And female mantises sometimes eat their own mates.
Wow. Hey, do you
Wait,
hear
wait,
that,
what?
girls?
Sometimes
Y'all don't mess with us.
No.
We work.
Yeah,
Good
but
job.
they-
That's
they-
right.
they- everybody-
Wait,
what?
Okay, here we go. Is that it, Jason? Good job. Who's next? Okay, Zane.
So I have the moth, and these are pictures of moth. That's like a normal house moth, and then that's another moth.
You know what? When you print out moths in color, most of them don't have that much color, do they?
So just do black.
That's the kind of moth we have here in this
What's
Texas.
the thing in the
That's cool.
sun?
The sunshine.
Jeez.
the sun.
So most people like butterflies more than moths, but moths actually outnumber them with a 9-to-1 ratio.
Wow.
So there's a lot of them. Moths can be as small as microscopic, or they can be as big as a dinner plate.
I'm more interested in the microscopic moth. I've never even heard of
There
it.
could be like
Yeah,
thousands.
To have a microscope to look at.
Not all moths actually have mouths, so
So how do they, did you find that information? Do they have a proboscis?
Or wouldn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
the
a
thingy on the
straw.
butterfly.
Well, I know, but of what?
A
Proboscis
proboscis.
is what it's called.
With the wing arms. Just
Adult moths, when after like they're not like caterpillars or anything anymore, then they actually don't eat. They only drink.
That's kind of cool.
Moths have they have scales on their wings, so that's how they hear from the scales.
See, all of the, our God is so creative. Good grief, they hear through the scales on their wings. Okay,
And that's it.
that's it. Okay. All right. Zane, I'm going to have to get you to go opposite gender. We've got a girl over there waiting.
Abigail.
Who might it be? Ooh, you have a really good picture of yours. Okay.
I did the peacock butterfly. And, on this website it said, in case threatened or bothered, the peacock butterfly will flash its wings and produce a hissing sound to confuse or scare off its predators.
And it produces a what?
Hissing sound.
Oh.
like a snake.
Or like a hissing cockroach. Okay, keep going.
It can see red, green, and yellow.
Okay.
Detect it. And during mating seasons, males are very territorial and scare off the females.
Why would they scare off the females if it's mating?
Oh, so now-
They
No,
said
no,
already got
after.
their wife.
Female. After.
Oh, after.
Oh.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. All right. Thank you. Abigail. Who's next?
Yeah, Gunther.
You mean George?
Oh, it's George.
I don't know where these names. Where'd you get all these?
Hillbilly. These are
We're hillbillies.
My name's
Okay,
Joe.
My name is
Say, never mind. Say it till we're done with our presentation. Okay, here we go. Hunter.
I have the bloody nose beetle,
Oh, cool.
and a bloody nose beetle looks like it has wings because it has a line down its back, like if you did have wings.
Yeah.
But it's all fused together, so there are no wings.
Yeah.
And when they're threatened, the bloody nose beetle spits bright red fluid that tastes really nasty, so their predators don't want to eat them. And
Don't you wonder who found
Yeah,
out
who
about
found
this?
out nasty? Hey, look, it's
Like
been
the only way
I don't know. Somebody. Okay, hang on. And then, hold on, let him finish.
it's one of the largest leaf beetles in the UK. I'm done.
There you go. Okay, what's your question?
Does the red stuff come out of its nose or its mouth?
I don't know.
It said it spits. It said it spits, so it must come out of its
It
way.
doesn't spit, it like drools it. It's like drool.
Okay.
Kool-Aid out of his mouth.
All right, so Hunter, who is next?
Chili.
Jilly, yeah, she was actually.
Preston.
Saving lives there.
Don't tell your hillbilly name.
After
Wait, we keep these right here, right? No, you give it to
no,
her.
you bring them to me.
Okay.
Oh, you hand me yours. Okay, let's roll. Yep.
I have the grasshopper, and grasshoppers are commonly eaten in African, Central, and South American countries.
Okay. Not here, right?
Grasshoppers are found in every continent except for Antarctica.
Wow, okay. I guess it's too cold there. Did you find out information about that?
No, but
Probably don't have a whole lot of grass for grasshoppers. And
the lifespan of a grasshopper depends on the climate where it resides.
okay.
What about
okay.
Greenland?
Greenland is actually a really cold place.
The Vikings changed the name to make sure their
It's
enemies.
because when they arrived in Greenland, when the Vikings arrived,
They wanted to trick them.
they arrived on a section that had green grass. That's why they named it Greenland, and Iceland was the opposite.
I thought they landed on it and named it Greenland because they wanted nobody else to come there.
Yeah.
Like they named it.
They made it
Iceland when it was like all green.
That makes sense, but not
To
the
make
Greenland.
nobody else like come there so they can have it.
That's what Iceland. That would be called Iceland.
But Greenland, so everyone is freezing to death.
But the Greenland doesn't make any sense.
Maybe they named it Greenland so they would have people to go there.
Maybe it's the same person and they just
Greenland is separate.
Is that not a
And grassland.
I don't know.
Wouldn't it just be the same thing?
Okay, all right. So if you did not bring your research today, then if you were absent, which is Owen and Jilly, then you get 100% credit bringing it on Wednesday. Okay? If you just did not, hang on, if you just did not bring yours today, then it's 30 points off. Okay? So don't skip another day. All right, Ethan, let's hear about you. And your vote. Insect.
his card.
Save lives.
Come on, Ethan.
Okay.
Right, so my bug was the stick bug, or insect was the stick bug, or walking stick.
Really cool presentation.
And so whenever they are feel threatened, they sway in the wind to make it look like they're just a stick blowing. And the females, they're bigger than the males. And so, the females can also mate without the males, and so they can reproduce without males.
So that's asexual reproduction, okay?
And their size is 0.46 inches, is the smallest they can get, and then to 12.9 inches. And their predators are bats, birds, rodents, and spiders. And the walking sticks are bats' favorite predators.
Really?
And so bats will especially look for them. They hunt at night.
So you're saying bats' favorite prey?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And then the walking sticks, they go out and find food at night. They're herbivores, and
they're nocturnal. That's interesting.
So, yeah.
That's cool. Good job, Ethan.
You know what would
Good
be
job.
funny? If there was no wind and you see a bug wave.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay.
There's literally no wind.
All right, guys. So, insects. You should, if you were not here the other day, then you should have some questions that you have answered over insects. So I need those turned in. Those should be the boys that got up and left for basketball.
No, we didn't leave.
We didn't leave.
Y'all didn't leave? Okay, so that's my next class. Okay, so good. Never mind. You're cool on that. Okay, I need you to grab a pencil and one of these papers, and I want you to write City of Bees at the top.
Wait, the shredder.
Hold on.
They're watching her.
You guys did that.
Mr. Akins.
I will. Miss Schrader. Can I tell the nobility name
Not
now?
yet. Not yet.
What? She said it's
So weird.
What is this? Why are y'all singing my group?
I don't know.
This way, my girl.
Preston.
We in the land of strange. Moody Institute of Science.
She's like, wait, that didn't sound right.
Okay, guys, eyes here. Okay, so City of Bees plus your name and class number. Okay, the reason we're going to watch this, it's old, like probably from the 50s, early 50s. And so when you look at the guy, it's going to be obvious that it's dated. But the information that is in this video about how bees live together in their community and how each bee has a purpose, it has a job. And to imagine that bees could have come up with this system on their own is ridiculous. So we're going to watch this not only to see how bees live and work in a community, in a hive, but also to notice that, wow, God there had to be an intelligent designer to give them the instinct to live and work in the community like they do. So what you are going to be doing is you are going to go ahead and number from 1 to 10.
Skipping line?
And what I want you to, yeah, I would skip lines if I were you. I want you to notice things that are kind of fascinating that a bee would even do, that a bee would know to do. You're noticing things about a bee's instinct. Also, any interesting things that sound kind of cool to you, write those down. For today, I want at least 10 observations by you written down about the city of bees. So here we go. It's old.
They restored it.
No.
Oh, they did?
They did?
I don't know that.
I was watching
The
the
honeybee has been called the most important insect in the world. Because of its importance and unique way of life, the bee has been studied more carefully than perhaps any creature except man himself. The results of these studies have been published in more than 30,000 books and articles. Here at the Moody Institute of Science, we have studied the bee for more than 10 years. Of course, in that time, we have barely scratched the surface. But the study has given us a profound appreciation of this remarkable insect. The bee is a social creature, and thus faces many of the problems of human society, such as keeping cities clean. When thousands of creatures live closely together, they either maintain rigid standards of sanitation or run the risk of disease and epidemic.
Can y'all see if I turn off the
In the hive, sanitation squads are constantly at work. Foreign material is quickly disposed of.
I can't see.
Each one of the thousands of cells is thoroughly cleaned and even varnished after every use. The result of this constant vigil is a hive which is amazingly clean. And not only is it clean, the hive is air conditioned as well. Daily and seasonal temperature fluctuations create a serious life and death problem. The larvae will die if the temperature in the brood area falls below 90 degrees or exceeds 97 degrees. Sensing organs on a bee's antennae can detect a temperature change of a 0.5 degree Fahrenheit. If the temperature goes down, the bees stoke their bodies with honey. A high metabolic rate quickly converts this honey into heat. And the collective heat of thousands of bodies provides a blanket of warm air. When the temperature soars, as it does in the summertime, water is collected and distributed throughout the hive. Vigorous fanning of the wings produces currents of air which evaporate the water, causing the temperature to go down. Notice how the bees station themselves to control the movement of the air. In at one side, out at the other.
None of them have lived
International
very long,
law
so they didn't
recognizes
learn
the
that.
right of any
It's
country
instinct.
to regulate the passing of persons across its borders. Only those who meet certain requirements are permitted to enter. There is a striking similarity between this procedure and that which exists between hives of bees. Guard bees constantly patrol the entrance. Each hive has a distinctive odor, and just a swipe with the antennae tells the guard whether the bee trying to gain entrance is a citizen or an alien.
Huh.
Aliens are forcibly ejected.
That's definitely a bee.
That's a wasp right there. He is not welcome.
The wasp made a deliberate effort to gain entrance to the hive, to rob the hive of honey. The caterpillar just happened along, but it makes no difference. The penalty for intrusion is the same.
Okay, keep watching.
A saucer of sugar water will allow you to make an interesting observation of the efficiency of the bee society. Place the saucer in a quiet spot in the backyard. It may go unnoticed for hours or even days. But once a scout bee has located it, in a matter of minutes, other bees appear. How were so many of them able to find the saucer so quickly? Did the scout bee return to the hive and lead them back?
That's a proboscis, what they were doing.
Fantastic as it seems, the scout bee actually told the other bees where the food was located. The world owes much of its knowledge of how bees communicate to the keen observation and perseverance of the brilliant Austrian scientist Dr. Karl von Frisch. Dr. von Frisch made thousands of observations over a period of more than 25 years, checking first one theory and then another, until at last he discovered the language of the bees. For one thing, the scout reveals the kind of nectar she has found simply by passing out minute samples. More information is conveyed through a complex figure-8 dance. The waggle is the important part of the dance. The vigor with which the abdomen is moved from side to side indicates the sugar content of the food.
Wow.
The food may be just average, or it may be something to really get excited about.
Wow. The more
When a scout bee
vigor,
dances straight up on the honeycomb, she is telling the other bees they can find food by flying directly toward the sun. If food can be found by flying away from the sun, she dances straight down.
Isn't that odd?
By varying the angle of the dance, a scout can indicate a food source in any direction. 90 degrees to the right of the sun.
You had to do a lot of studying.
40 degrees to the left of the sun. But how is a bee able to follow bearings with respect to the sun? This would imply the bee has some kind of compass, and so she has. An amazing polarized light compass built into her compound eye. But if the bee is to find the food, she must know not only direction, but distance as well. Observe again the center portion of the dance. The length of time spent on the waggle and the number of pulses of sound emitted in each buzz are a measure of the distance to the food source. This scout is telling the others of food 3/10 of a mile away.
That's a whole lot of detail.
This one indicates a food source at a distance of 1 7/10 miles.
Remember, nobody
More than
taught
simple distances
this bee
involved.
how to do that. It's instinct.
A bee normally flies about 15 miles per hour. However, her ground speed will vary according to the direction and velocity of the wind.
That's not Photoshop.
The amount of effort required to reach the food must be communicated in order for such problems to be solved. To demonstrate that the bee language really works, we set out 3 feeders. The first near a stream. The second near a grove of trees. The third along a fence. The scout discovering feeder number 1 is marked with a dot. The scout discovering feeder number 2 is marked with a bar. And the scout discovering feeder number 3 with a cross. In a matter of minutes, the scout bees are back at the hive, busily sharing their discovery with the other bees. Now let's see how well the messages are received. The bees crowd around, sensing with their antennae the movements of the scout. These bees are marked with the same symbol as the scout bee they are attending, but with a different color. In a short while, the marked bees begin to arrive at the feeders, but only bees with dots visit feeder number 1. Only those with bars visit feeder number 2. And only crosses visit feeder number 3.
Isn't that awesome?
In each instance, the bees visit only the feeders they have been told about.
How cool is that?
So we say the dance of the bee is a briefing session, communicating to other bees specific and precise information as to the kind of food, its sugar content, and the direction and distance which must be flown to reach it. The extent to which the bees rely on the accuracy of the information
See, that's its
is
provocative.
seen in the matter of fuel supply. One might suppose that bees leaving the hive would take along a full load of fuel, but such is not the case. Actual measurements of the stomach contents of the bees going to predetermined locations reveal they take only enough fuel to reach the flowers they are to work. To carry more would deplete the honey reserves of the hive and cut down on the payload to be brought back. This is serious business for a bee. If the fuel runs out before the new source of supply is reached, the bee will die. Occasionally, you see a bee struggling along the grass. Some strange turn of events caused her to run out of fuel. You can nudge her, or even give her an elevated position from which to take off, but she can't fly. There is not enough fuel to run those wing muscles. But feed her some sugar water or honey, and before long, off she flies.
And she'll sing really quick.
Bees actually stake their lives on the accuracy of the information they have been given, and the system really works. In 1 year, in the United States alone, 247 million pounds of honey were harvested.
Wow.
This was in addition to approximately twice that amount used by the bees themselves. This means that the bees sought out, sucked up, transported, and processed about 1,500,000,000 pounds of nectar. Converted into honey, this
Remember,
would
they
fill
use
41
twice the
million
amount that we
cartons
get from them.
and make a stack nearly 8,000 miles high.
And we did went to a cartoon.
The population of the bee city varies throughout the year. The 80,000 inhabitants will, within a few months, shrink to 15,000. Then, just as suddenly, build up again. This fluctuation is no accident. It is the result of a carefully regulated system of population control, the key to which is the queen bee.
Watch this.
Oh, it's way bigger.
When a queen is needed,
Yeah.
a group of workers called nurses select several very young larvae and feed them an abundant supply of royal jelly. One of these will become the queen. Thus, in a very literal sense, a queen is made, not born.
So what do they feed? What are these nurse jelly? And those are only the larvae that are selected by the nurse bees.
If you gave everyone the jelly, then everyone would be half the size and you'd get more honey.
Or they'd fight with each other and they wouldn't know their spot.
Put up your dress.
And then
Wait and see what's going to happen. Here we go.
The cells for these larvae are enlarged so as to accommodate the greater size.
So then they make their cells bigger.
The newly developed queen announces her arrival even before she emerges. The piping sound is a challenge to any other queen to prepare for battle.
You thought it was your
Hey, listen. Just listen. They're fighting for the win.
The queens engage in a death struggle until only one remains. And the remaining queen is a phenomenal egg producer, laying more than twice her weight in eggs in a single day. However, the queen has no control over the number of eggs she lays. This is determined for her. She is fed and cared for by the nurses. The more they feed her, the more she lays. By varying the amount of food she is fed, the nurses control the number of eggs laid and thus control the population. The eggs are laid one to the cell. After 3 days, the egg hatches. The larva never leaves the cell in which it is cradled, so all the food necessary for its development must be prepared and brought to it. This too is done by the nurse bees. During the next 6 days, the nurses will make thousands of visits to every cell. Think of it, thousands of visits to raise one bee. Yet there can be thousands of larvae all developing at the same time, each requiring a formula.
You can kind of see why they say busy as a bee, right? I mean, they're
And I kind of-
constant.
Bunch of bees that are asleep.
1,000 times a day. Okay, here we go.
Easily controlled as to both the amount and content of the food.
That's a middle.
And the honeycomb, the home in which the larvae are raised, the storehouse for the nectar and pollen, is a marvel of construction. The material used, the beeswax, is of the bee's own manufacture. Honey is consumed in great abundance. Once they have gorged themselves, these building engineers assemble at the construction site. They join together, each being plain to the one above.
So we will finish that next time.
Can we
Not
turn this
today.
in if we're done?
I was gonna name all.
Guys, listen. Turn those papers in, and I will hang on to them for you.
No, you mean Hillbilly Bill.
Hey, that's me.
I'm Hillbilly Dirt. I'm Hillbilly Dirt. I'm Hillbilly Willie.
Hillbilly Dirt.
Dylan, I'm the second original Hillbilly. Zach. I'm Billy the original. No, it's Billy.
I'm the Billy.
I'm from Georgia.
Hey, Brady, I think we're getting
I was like this last time.
Because a lot of our stuff is hands-on. And so he's somewhere. Not to worry, I'll get her copies.
Walk it in.
Yeah.
She can get a couple early or whatever you want to do.
Okay, whenever. She's good. I can see her reflex. Yeah, thank you. She is crazy about you. I do know that.
It's recording you.
Yes, that was because Sydney. Can y'all open the door and prop it open for me? Today. Right, it's for Sydney.
I didn't realize mine was a tiger swallowtail, and I just did swallowtails.
Okay.
But
Like a bird?
no, like the swallowtail, the butterfly.
Okay, alright.
Can I have it?
I don't have it.
Okay, babe, then sit down and get yourself ready for class. Oh, whoa. Let me get this pulled back out.
Caitlin is right here. Let's sit
Okay. Okay, guys, so you should have 3 things on your desk. Posters coming in. You can put those right back here on the table to get them out of the way. I do not know who gets this next.
Oh, basketball players are leaving at 2:45. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Okay, Bibles open to Leviticus 11. You don't need it today. You're good.
Oh my God!
Y'all can call me Razzle and Dazzle. We'll be back.
So guys, ooh, that looks good. Posters back here on the back table.
I'm gonna put mine on top so it doesn't get razzled up.
Good idea. Good idea. All right. If I see backpacks out behind your chair or beside your chair, that is tally material. Put it under your feet. Can I go get some lead out of mine? No, you can borrow some. Yeah.
Anybody got some lead real quick?
Nope, not right now. We're in. Okay, so we've got Madison, Zaya, and Patrick Jackson, Caitlin. Real loud. Cam, here, Savannah, here, and Katie, here, Maddox, here, Jessica, here. Maya, here. Marcus, here. Addie, here. Kay, here. And Cooper. Here. We still got several out. Okay, guys, you are fixing to read a verse in Leviticus, 2 or 3 verses that are talking about the number. Where's that go? Under your feet. Okay, so it is talking about the number of legs on insects that God said His people could eat. So take a look at how many legs the Bible mentions on these insects. And I want you to compare it with what you're seeing up here. So how many legs do we say insects have? 6. 6 legs, 3 pair, right? All insects have 3 pair of legs, but when we get into this verse right here, it's going to sound really different. And so your first thought's going to be, what? Is the Bible wrong? But we're going to look and see what could it be talking about. So when the Israelites left Egypt, they really did not know God very well. They had been in Egypt for 400 years, and they really did not know God. I think it might go to Miss Lafreniere, but I'm not positive. I'm
Who's the
really
student?
not positive. It's for Sydney Hill.
I don't know who that is.
And I think, I'm not positive.
Does anybody memorize Sydney Hill's schedule?
She didn't see because
Lafreniere.
there was an email that Miss Legato sent out earlier, and I think it goes to her.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes to her.
Doesn't this make you want to sing into it? Hey, how are you?
I'll go take a look at it.
Hey there. Hello. I know. I'll try to set it up to not interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Where do you want it? Where do you usually have it?
Where we have it is right here.
Okay. Okay.
And then I can just start it whenever I start the lesson. Is it connecting? Okay, so Owen, you were absent, so you need desperately to catch up.
Desperately. He is
Okay, you going? Okay, Judd. How many do you have?
53 counting my toes.
Okay, can I see your clothes, please?
I got one from each row.
That works.
I might not be coming tomorrow. I might be in so much pain after getting my tooth removed.
Two quotes, please.
Teacher's pit. Get college.
Quotation mark. Preston, hand this to Brady, please. Zach. Is it ringing? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's
recording. Change the
Okay.
Yeah, she had to do that too. Okay. I think it's on already.
Yeah, I changed it to the university.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Thank you.
Get to Canada and then fly to Mexico. Stay for the rest of the Hey, I was born in El Paso, okay?
El Pasonian.
And how many months do you have?
What planet is
I thought that was like
you?
I thought it was Jewish. I was from
Oh, I have to tell you at church.
Raise your hand if you're going to play basketball and have to leave early. And you need these checked still. Same. There was one more person.
I'm sorry, I have the
In just a minute. How many note cards do you have?
54.
And I need to see.
I don't even know where quotes are. My dad looked through these and he messed up all this stuff.
Preston, are you going to play basketball? Yes. Nope. Okay.
No, he's gonna go play,
Did I get everyone that's leaving early to play basketball?
yeah, more
Alright.
Flappy Bird, professional Flappy Bird player.
I'm gonna give you. I need to do everyone else. Okay, the rest of you, hang on tight. I'm gonna check your note cards and quotes after they leave, but I want to go through the lesson quickly so they know what to do for homework. Does that make sense? So remember how many note cards you have, and remember to keep your quotes separate from them. I'm going to hand you some handouts. Today we're going to write what's called the thesis statements, and you need your note cards in order to do that. So take this out and put it in the brads of your folder. There's going to be 3 different pages.
Oh, my folder. But yeet, I
Raise your hand
guess.
if you end up having an extra page.
For a couple of years, I thought Brad was his his name's Brad.
I'm going to give you the handout writing the thesis sentence. Put this in your brads of your folder.
Brad, immediately like this, fam, with a rubber band.
For real, we're tight. See?
Yo, we are tighter than Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Say that because they hate each other. Barack Obama and what's his face? Donald Trump.
Okay, I need any extra papers that you might have. Any extra handouts?
Yeah.
That wasn't even that funny, boy. You need to chill.
Actually, it's kind of funny. Pretty funny.
What? I just closed my brand. Don't tell me what to do. Don't. You have to open your brand again.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Sorry for opening and closing your brand.
You're like a doctor. Sorry for opening and closing your brand.
Sorry, go stick it open again.
Oh, I left my lunch in there, Brad. Come on, I gotta open my lunch up again. I dropped my sandwich in there. That's what I call a hot iron.
Why is Maggie dying?
Oh, sorry. It tastes like blood in there.
Jason said what?
Wait, Maggie's dying?
Finally! Zane, you lied to me. Whoever said Dylan.
I wasn't even making a peanut butter and bloody sandwich.
Peanut butter and blood.
Okay, raise your hand if you still need a handout.
Raise your
what?
Raise your hand if you didn't get one of those handouts.
Don't close your brass.
He like takes a picture with his phone.
Don't put your brass.
Oh, I thought she
Another Brad. Wait.
Brad, I'm sorry, I have to keep just cutting
Sorry,
open my friend, but oh my God.
You're bleeding your internal organs out.
Still.
This is Brad's memory.
Brad, I'm just kind of stuffing this stuff in here right now. I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna level with you. I got my medical license from behind a dumpster. From a dumpster. He's just like asleep.
I just found them.
I just had behind him.
Okay, guys, you should have 3. You should have gotten 3 different handouts.
And if you look at it, it's written in crayon.
That's not quite how.
Yeah. This one. Okay, you should have gotten one titled
I was reading my American Studies.
Did you try to put that by in the rain?
It's on now.
No, it has to be blue to be going.
No,
No,
it
it
has to be
has
red.
It has to be red?
Yes.
Then it's going.
I don't know why she's listening to
Don't
us.
touch it, Curtis. Don't touch it.
Oh, Jet's kind of nice.
All right, so look at the handout that I gave you titled Writing the Thesis Statement. It has a little boy that's diving.
Oh, who's the dying?
I thought that was a
I
girl.
thought you said dying. I was like,
Diving. That's the statement. What is it, Curtis?
This thesis sentence helps the reader to organize his thoughts so that he will understand the information he or she is about to receive. A thesis sentence is like a topic sentence, except that
About what the paper is about. And your paper is about a certain topic, which is your national park. It's also about 3 subtopics, what you're going to write about your national park. And that's what you've been doing research on, or your subtopics. What is that? What is this paper going to be about? Okay, next, read the next paragraph to us, Zane.
Usually the thesis sentence has 2 parts, the topic and the mention of each of the main points you plan to cover about that topic. Study the following examples to see how a thesis sentence is written.
Okay, so let's look at example 1. It has a thesis sentence already written. What does it say, Dylan?
We need water for everyday living, for drinking and bathing, for growing food, and for recreation and transportation.
Okay, circle the topic of that thesis sentence. What is the topic? What is it, Preston? Water. Okay. Put a 1 beside the, what are you going to talk about water? What's the first thing you're going to talk about? What? It's for drinking and bathing. What's the second thing you're going to talk about water, Zachary?
We need water for growing food.
For growing food. And what's the third point they're going to make about water, Preston?
Recreation and transportation.
Recreation and transportation. Okay, so that's their thesis sentence. That's what their paper is going to be about. Let's look at example 2. Hunter, read us the thesis sentence.
Knowing a foreign language can help you to build your vocabulary, to learn how other people live, and to make friends with people from other countries.
Okay, what is the topic of the thesis? Abigail.
Foreign languages.
Foreign languages. Okay, Jason, what's the first reason to learn a foreign language?
To help your vocabulary.
To help you build your vocabulary. Drew, what's the second reason to learn a foreign language?
To learn how other people live.
To learn how other people live. And what's the third reason for learning a foreign language, Owen?
To make friends with people from other countries.
To make friends with people from other countries. So that's their thesis statement for their paper. Okay, are you following so far? And understand that each of those 3 points will become what's called the 3 body paragraphs. Remember that the introductory paragraph starts with your attention grabber. Then it narrows down through the thesis, which has 3 points. Okay? Those 3 points then become your 3 body paragraphs. And then your concluding paragraph is the opposite of the introductory one. But these 3 points become these 3 body paragraphs. Okay?
Do we need to draw that?
Did I not hand you the handout that has that? I think you have that handout.
It's the page before.
Yeah. It's a pictorial. Maggie, if you don't have one, I'll get you one in just a little bit. Okay.
Wait, is this page right here?
No.
the one with all the squares.
Oh, this is the one with the
Go back one more.
Is this all for
I'll get you a copy of it, okay?
It
So
says
I
by
didn't get it.
I got it.
How many of you do not have a pictorial drawing? Okay, I'll make some
That
more
whole
copies and get
battle
those to you. Okay.
Right behind that kid is about to
Are they
take the
with
next
you, Zach? Did you keep them all at your end? No? You don't have any? Okay, let's look at the next page. Thesis statement. Read at the top, Ethan. A thesis statement.
Wait, where?
A thesis statement.
The next page.
Who knows where we
Oh,
are?
there we are.
Okay, Judd, read it. Oh, do you have it now?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
A thesis statement states what you believe about a topic. It gives your writing direction and makes the entire paper possible. Without it, the paper wouldn't be able to start on its adventure. Think of it as the key that unlocks the door to your essay.
So there again, restating in different words what the thesis statement is. Keep reading, Ethan.
It's
hard to say.
Thesis statement provides the subject of the paper and writer's opinion about the subject. Think of it as the roadmap to your paper. Using your thesis statement to explain how you intend to organize your paper helps your reader.
Okay, let's go down to exercise 2. They've got some partially written thesis statements there. And we're going to finish them. The first one says the school board should require more exercise opportunities in school because it is essential to the students blank, blank, and blank. What would you put there, Drew? Health.
Diet.
Maggie?
Flexibility.
Flexibility.
Can we write them in?
Yes. Health, flexibility, and Judd.
Muscles.
Building of muscles. Okay, so that's what your 3 body paragraphs would be about. One about health, one about flexibility, and one about building muscles.
I like it when you say muscles.
Okay. Number 2, football is my favorite sport. Your topic is going to be football. Football is my favorite sport because, Owen, number 1.
Physical.
Because it's physical. Number 2, Preston.
Aggressive.
It's aggressive. And third reason you like football, Maggie?
It's like a workout.
It's a good workout. Okay.
Wait, we're just making it, right?
Huh?
We're making
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just showing you how you can have a topic like football and then you're going to write 3 points about it. And those 3 points are what are going to become your 3 body paragraphs. Okay, one more. I enjoy learning the most when I am... Someone that has an answer. Jason. Focused. Preston.
Reading.
You enjoy learning the most when you're reading, okay? Ethan?
When I'm laughing.
When you're laughing, that's when you enjoy learning. Okay, I was thinking about something like when I'm well fed, when I'm well rested, and when I'm interested. Okay? And each of those 3 points would become your 3 body paragraphs. Okay, real quick.
We have 2 minutes.
I know, I'm well aware of how much time we have.
Really?
Guys, so how are we going to divide our paper? You got your topic. What's your topic? National park.
We're trying to guess until we know.
Whatever your national park is.
Where do we write this?
Nowhere.
You can write it there on the bottom of that sheet or on the back of that sheet. Okay, what you're going to do in order to get your 3 points.
No, don't. Get some help.
In order to get your 3 points, you're going to follow.
Where are we writing this?
On the back of the paper. Just on the back of the paper. Okay, this is how we're going to get the topics for our national park. First of all, put the name of your national park in the state.
Wait. I don't know where mine's located.
Seriously?
You don't know what?
Where mine's located.
Or what book is?
No, where his park is.
Where your park is, you need to find out. What
Wait,
state is in?
Who was president in
What if it's
1996?
in Arizona?
Okay.
What is in multiple?
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is weird.
Guys, do you have, look at that paper that I gave you that says title of the research paper. It's an outline. Okay. What are the 3 points that you're going to write about on your paper?
Transition sentence?
No.
No.
Roman numeral 2.
History, landscape, and wildlife.
History, landscape, and wildlife. Do you have note cards about each of those points? Yes. Okay, is there another way that you could divide it up? Think about your note cards.
Do it for wildlife.
No size, you're not going to write a whole paragraph about
Animals.
size. Okay,
That's
you
wildlife.
can do animals.
That's wildlife.
Wait, what is landscape? Is that like all the flowers and stuff?
It's like
Guys, do not move.
Excuse the interruption,
Do
but
not
at this
move.
time, please release the junior high boys basketball team to the practice gym.
You will leave
Thank you.
sooner if you will listen, okay? What you need to do, boys, is you need to take your note cards. You need to divide them into 3 points that are going to become your 3 body paragraphs. You need to rubber band those. Stop and freeze. And then you're going to have to write your thesis sentence. And it's due when you come to class on Wednesday.
Oh, man.
Okay, so take out your planner and let's write down what your homework is, guys.
So
that are
just
leaving.
one sentence?
Guys, basketball players, this is your homework. Divide note cards into 3 points. Okay, these 3 points probably. You might do it a little differently. Rubber band them. The second part of your homework is to write your thesis sentence. It is 1 sentence long to answer your questions, Zane. It's 1 sentence long. It must have the name of your national park and the state, and it must include these 3 points that you're going to make about your park.
Wait,
If you're not in basketball, don't worry right now. Judd, did you write that down?
I wrote it on
Sit down and write it down.
I wrote it on the sheet.
Okay, that's your homework that's due when you come to class. Okay. Those of you who are still here, we're going to work with this some more. They had to have a really mini lesson. Curtis.
So like for our sentence, we would write like this national park is fun to visit or something like that. Or like
You're going to actually state the name of your park. Or you're going to state that it's in. We're going to go over this some more, okay?
Virgin Islands National Park has history, landscape, wildlife.
Something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought we had to write like
1 sentence is all it
You're
is.
not going?
oh my god.
Got it, Brady?
About to get a pencil shoved up
He
their
is
nose.
writing down somewhere.
Hey, that doesn't sound too bad.
Watch out!
I volunteer for you.
Okay, those of you who are still here, let's take our note. I need to count your note cards. You to count your note cards, give me your number and show me your quotes. And then I want you to take your note cards and I want you to start putting them into the 3 stacks. Okay? If you want to, you can use these 3. What's another way you've seen that you can maybe divide your note cards?
Plant life, or is that what I'm doing?
Do you have enough for a whole paragraph of plant life? You could say plant life,
Weather, I guess.
plants,
Weather.
and history.
Eco cycle or like ecosystem or something like that.
Okay, you could do, let's brainstorm here. Ecosystem, which includes what, Curtis?
Like the cycles everything goes through, like
Okay, and
winter,
the ecosystem
spring,
also includes
summer.
animals and plants.
Mm.
Okay, so all that would be in there. What else would you write about, Dylan?
The structures there, man-made structures.
Do you have man-made structures in your
Yes,
park?
Fort Jefferson, the lighthouse.
Okay. So some
Like safety,
Native
camping and
Americans.
stuff like that for the
activities.
Oh, there you go.
Activities.
What if you couldn't find any activities?
Yeah, everybody should have had activities. Okay, another way you could do it is ecosystem. I'm trying to think.
If your park has Native Americans, mine
That
would.
could be, yeah. You could put history, and you could put this. The islands would go under ecosystem. Maggie, what would be a third one?
I just had a question.
Okay.
On mine for man-made, wouldn't like the lighthouse and then all the like sunken ships and everything count?
What is your park?
Biscayne National Park.
Biscay. Okay. So you would have man-made structures in yours too. But you want to use most of your cards. Don't worry if you don't use 100% of them. You want to use most of your cards to divide them up into 3 points that you're going to make about your park. Okay, so you don't want to have, you don't want one of your points to be about the size. You wouldn't have enough information. It's okay. You wouldn't have enough information.
One card.
Yeah, one card. Okay, so I want you to take your note cards, and yes, you're going to mix the colors of your cards now. Okay?
That's like
You're going to mix the colors of these cards.
That drives me
Good
crazy.
thing Brady's not here because he would
It's
He
so
wouldn't like
perfect.
that, would he? He's got to do it. And when you get them into what you think are going to be your 3 points, and you've used most of your cards, you have a guideline there if you care to use it. It's there. Then I'll give you 3 rubber bands, and you're going to label it by putting like 1, 2, and 3, putting your label on the top of that note card.
Do we put our quotes in there?
Your quote will support one of your points, yes. If it's about landscape, you put it in the landscape part. If it's about the peoples, you put it in that paragraph about peoples. Preston.
If it says like Virgin Islands National Park was established in something, would you put it in history? Because like
It could be about the history. Look at that outline I gave you. That's a suggested way to divide up your cards. Does everyone have that outline?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
wait,
I gave it to you today.
Wait, which outline?
It's actually titled title of the research paper.
Oh.
But that's one way to divide it
I
up.
was looking at the pencil one. Yes.
Okay. That can help guide you. You don't have to do it that way, but that's one way to do it. Maggie.
Wait, so for the note cards, how do we do it like each one on a different card? Like say like your first one's history, your second one's landscape, and your third one's wildlife.
Take white note cards and just put that on them. And then put the cards that belong with it. You're categorizing, like you did when you were in first grade, and you categorize everything that's round, everything that's square, and everything that's a triangle.
Oh, I kind of remember.
And you can use any color cards.
Use any kind of cards. You're going to mix the colors of your cards. Okay? While you're doing that, I'm going to ask you for your note card numbers, how many note cards you wrote, and I want to see your 2 quotes.